Hari Om. Let's start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanora Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the Vedanta Sangraha of Sri Ramaraya Kavi, and we just completed chapter 5 that talks about Apavada. So chapter 4 and 5 are very important chapters. Talks about Adhyaropa Apavada. It's a methodology of teaching about Brahman which cannot be taught, because Brahman being infinite, there cannot be, no words can reach there, because Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. Scripture itself says that no words can reach there, not even mind can reach there. Because why? Because Brahman means infinite, and it is pure existent consciousness without any discrimination whatsoever. That means there is no sajati vijati swagata beda rahitam. That means it's being infinite, you cannot have any parts, and it can't be even pointed out, because anything pointed is within the Brahman only. So the whole creation is appearance only, as though on Brahman. On Brahman means Brahman himself, as though Brahman being neutral gender, Brahman itself as though appears as many. That is only due to Maya. So it is because of Maya it's appearing as though it is many, but actually it is not, because Maya itself is not there. So, but fellow who is inside the creation thinks that is real creation and suffers as a consequence of that. So this teaching is only for a samsari. Samsari means who thinks I am this. So a samsari is the one, not who is married or something. Whoever thinks I am equal to this. This being an object. That includes starting from body, mind, intellect, and whatever the biodata, I am this, I am this, I am this, all are this only, which you are not. Why? Because you are a subject and this is an object. So what are you, what is your true nature? That for them only, one who wants to know what's my real nature, what's the nature of the world, what's the nature of that. So all that absolute nature of the everything, that is what Brahman, the scripture defines as that which cannot be known through any means, because means and all that are trying to differentiate, that is indifferent, that cannot be differentiated. But these are a methodology teaching within the Maya itself for the person who wants to transcend the Maya and see the original truth. This is seeing is recognizing that I am that Brahman. That teaching itself is what is involved. Adhyaropa Apavada. Adhyaropa is whole creation itself is a superimposition. Apavada is dissolution of the creation. Cognitively, while the mind is working, it is the mind that is confused, that I am this, I am this. Why? Mind itself is an inert entity, how can it get confused? But it is activated as though by the consciousness. So mind say, when I say I am conscious entity, who is saying that? It is the mind only. And the mind enlivened by the consciousness and says that I am a conscious entity. Simple example we say is like a moon, say I am a luminous entity. Moon is not really luminous, but moon shining in the brilliantly in the sky can claim that I am the most shining entity in the sky. I am a luminous entity. And that claim is possible only because it is shining, not because of itself, because of the reflected sunlight only. Sunlight falling on it and reflected, and that's what we see. So what we see is only moonlight, but you don't see the sunlight. Next time if you look at it, the moon on a full moon night, you are looking at the moon and you are looking at the moonlight, but you don't see sunlight. But you know moon cannot have a moonlight, it's only sunlight only. So sunlight only coming as a moonlight. So through moonlight I had to see the original cognitively, because since knowing that moon does not have a light of its own, the light that comes out of the moon is nothing but sunlight only. Same way, the consciousness that is coming out of the mind, say I am conscious entity, I am conscious of this, I am conscious of that. So the whole world is taking place, knowledge is taking place through the mind only. Without the mind, you cannot know anything. But mind by itself cannot know anything by itself, because it's the inert entity. But consciousness enlivens it, and therefore I can say, just as I say moon is lighting everything on the, I can see everything on the earth in the presence of bright moonlight. But it's not the moonlight, it is sunlight only, illumining via the moon and the objects outside. So it is I had to cognitively understand it is via the mind, the consciousness is illumining, and I am that conscious entity. When I claim, that means I am that pure existent consciousness that I am, which cannot be known anyway. But because I think I am confused, the mind is confused, mind should know that consciousness that it exhibits is coming from the pure consciousness that I am. That's what called Adhyaropa Apavada. So another methodology of teaching followed is called the Lakshana Vakyam. Lakshana means indicatory meaning, because direct words cannot reach there. So Yato Vacho Nivartante Aprapya Manusa Saha Navagachati Namanaha. No words can reach there. Yet the scriptures is talking about pages and pages of using words only. How? This is another methodology adopts is called the Lakshana Vakyam, indicatory definition. You try to use the words, and in the help of a teacher, a scripture uses the words and take the mind, uplift in the direction, hey, look at that way, then you will find it. But you cannot point it out, but you are only pointing the mind to contemplate in the direction to see the truth. And this chapter 6 is deal with Lakshya Jnanam. That means indicatory knowledge. Indicator means through Lakshyam, through pointers, we have to find out the truth about it. So here we'll start with 1. Ada Lakshanaya Brahma Pratipadana Prakaraha Uchyati. So now we are dealing with through Lakshanaya, through via using the indicatory meanings, how Brahma Pratipadanam Prakaram, how one can know Brahman, which cannot be known otherwise, is going to be discussed now. So that are the Lakshana indicatory meaning is going to cover now. Tatahi Tisraha Sabda Vruttayaha Abhida Lakshana Vyanjana cha iti. So we start with the introduction. Tatahi, therefore, let's look at just Trisaha Shabdaha Vruttayaha. There are 3 ways the words give the meaning. So fundamentally, this is how the knowledge takes place through words, Shabda Pramanam. So this is a discussion of the Shabda Pramanam. Okay, there are elaborate discussions in the Nyaya philosophy, in the Nyaya also, and also in the Vedanta Paribhasha by Dharmaraja Advarindra that we mentioned before, also discussion about how knowledge takes place via the Shabdam. So Tisraha Sabdaha Vruttayaha, and there are 3 ways the meaning can be obtained from the words. One is called Abhida, and he is going to explain it. It's called Abhida, then Lakshana, then Vyanjana. So there are 3 ways: Abhida, Lakshana, Vyanjana cha iti. These are the 3. He gives classification. These are all scientific approach. Scientists only classify, codify, this belongs to this phylum, this belongs to this phylum. All that is how a scientist approaches, and this is also Vedanta is a science. Here is discussing about how the word meaning comes, and this is how Vedanta looks at it and deeply analyzes how the knowledge takes place through the words. And he says there are three types. One is Abhida, Lakshana and Vyanjana. And he's giving details about each one. Asmat padat ayamartho bodhavyaha iti ishvara sanketa rupa sabda shaktihi abhida. So asmat, therefore, the padat ayamartaha, this meaning of this bodhavya iti ishvara sanketa rupa sabda shaktihi abhida. So the direct meaning of the word, of any word that you say, is as though is given by the Lord Ishvara, is what that is immediate meaning, that is the direct meaning that one can gather from the words. So each word it has a meaning, then only you call it a word. And if there is no meaning, Baba, Bubu, Bibi, Bibi, is not words, because it doesn't have any particular significance of object. So each word denotes an object, and that immediate object is what association with the word and the object is comes from the, it says, Ishvara Sanketa Rupa. According to the Vedanta, it is the Lord who has provided the meaning of word meaning to each word. So when we are born, says the mother, when it goes around with the baby, the mother say, this is a nose, this is the eyes. So mother start teaching, that's a teacher. Why do you say this is a cow? This is a cow. Who gave the word cow for the cow? So here the word is Ishvara, here saying is Ishvara Sanketa Rupam. So as designated by the Ishvara, Lord. How does Lord designate? Does it designate in Sanskrit, or does it designate in Telugu, or English, or Hindi? What exactly that Lord designation means? This is always a question. It always bothers me when I use the word, because the word, the meaning of the word comes from a convention. Convention means somebody is using it and passed on that knowledge by word of mouth. And that's how the language develops. And in some, this one there's only written, the word, only spoken language, but no written language also. In some of the particularly, I don't know, I heard Tulu and all that, some languages only spoken, but no writing. Writing may be Kannada only. So it's a language that is only communicated through generations to come, number one. So my mother learned that is a cow, and she passed on the knowledge to me, and now I pass on to my child. So beta, the one who looked like, that's what is called cow is. Other one is horse, or you can use the Sanskrit word that is go, and then this is the horse and so on, the words that can designate to particular one. And also, when somebody says cow, immediately what happens? I heard this sound cow, it goes to my mind, and then what happens? From the memory, the cow word is poured along with its attributive content in terms of either picture or shape or all that goes with the cow, which is different from a horse. So it is already memorized in the memory. So memory bank is already, and that memory bank has to come in when you say cow, immediately the word heard by the senses, the sense of hearing, passed on to the mind hears it as a thought and collects it information from the bank. All that process is Ishvara, is due to the presence of Ishvara only, Because aham vaishvanaro bhutva praninam deham ashrayah. So I am the one who makes the life in principle, and it's only life that can understand cow, living entity. If they're dead, you can say cow, whatever. If the body may be lying, it cannot know. So it is Ishvara Shakti is where the memory has to come in, and so on and so forth, depending upon the individual vasanas and the environment. The reason I say it is because I was looking at the word, because this I heard also. The same word can have many meanings, and what meaning it strikes depends upon the situation, circumstance, and the context also. That all depends upon that. So if the simple example is, if I say this is a pit, so if you go to in the dictionary, pit stands for some hole or some digging. So immediate meaning that mind is, hey, there's a pit there, and you think I'm talking about a hole in the ground or hole somewhere, a depression, what you call it, a pit. But a guy who is working in the fruits and all that, pit also means a seed inside is also a pit. So it's the fruit without pits, and that is not fruit depressions, it is a removal of the seeds that we are talking about. So there the pit stands for a seed, whereas the pit stands for a hole. Which one is really meaning? That depends upon the context, and the brain and the memory bank goes through, depending upon what context he is using, he takes care of that meaning only. That is what Ishvara Shakti also. So in the hierarchy of the meanings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, if there are meanings like that, the top priority depends upon my normal habitual meaning. That's first one, and also the context also determines the pit. So if I am using a lot of fruits and say, hey, this is a pitless one, I don't think in terms of a depression on the ground. I think he's talking about seeds only. One who is in that environment thinks that one only. Whereas the one who is always digging on the ground, he thinks pit is a depression on the ground. So therefore, it depends upon the environment and usage, and what we call it samskara. The mind selects the top meaning of it. If it doesn't apply, then it goes to secondary meaning, and that's what is called Ishvara Sanketam. And the word that he used here is essentially where is that? Ishvara Sanketa Rupa Shabda Shakti. So the word has a Shakti. Shakti means power to give you that particular meaning. A heart, that word has a meaning to designate a particular, the animal, that memory of which is stored in your mind, and that comes essentially as that is the meaning that brain will take. That is essentially talking about Abhida. Abhida means Vachyartham, the word meaning. And therefore, Anaya Pratipadyamanaha Yaha Arthaha Saha Mukhya Arthaha. This is the primary meaning for the word. That is called Abhida. So when somebody says something, first meaning is direct meaning. Only when the direct meaning does not apply, you go to the Lakshartha. That's what he says now. Pratipadyam. So Saha Mukhya Arthaha Amumeva Vachyartham Abhideyam iticha vadanti. This is Vachyartham, is also a direct meaning of the word called Vachyartham, or word meaning, or the direct meaning, all are the indicatory, or the not indicatory. Direct meaning of the words, that is first meaning, is what is given as the Abhida. Then Mukyarthasya bhade sati tat sambandhyartha pratipadika lakshana. So lakshana is the second category, and it says Mukhyarthasya Bhade Sati. So when the primary meaning is not really applicable properly, then you go to a secondary meaning, and Tat Sambandh, that is related to the primary, Tat Sambandhyartha Pratipadika Lakshana. So it says you go to the Lakshana Vakya, it is related to it, but not directly, because the first meaning is not obvious, applicable. So you take a secondary or the meaning here, that's called the indicatory meaning. It's not what Vachyartham, it is Lakshyartham. So the scripture talks about Lakshyartha, and therefore emphasis is the Lakshyartha, which he will go into details later. And here is only defining Abhida and Lakshana. What is Lakshana? It says Mukhyarthasya Bhade Sati Tat Sambandhyartha Pratipadika. So indicatory meaning, when the primary meaning, Mukhyartham, is not applicable. Anaya Pratipadyamanaha Yorthaha Tam Lakshyartham Gaunartham Apacharikam Iticha Ahu. This is also called the Gaunartham. Gaunartham is indicatory meaning, and also Apacharikam. This is a useful meaning that is applicable here. That all this Pratipadyamanaha Yorthaha Tam Lakshyartham Gaunartham Apacharikam iti chahu. This is also called Lakshyartham or Gaunartham, Apacharikam, etc. So these are indicatory meanings for the word that was used here, and that will be applicable only when the direct meaning does not apply. And so we have the Lakshana, we have the Abhida Lakshana. Next is Vyanjana. So Tatparya Vrittihi Vyanjana. Tatparya Vritti is, it is not either the point, the Lakshyartham or direct meaning, but Tatparya means implied meaning. It's not obvious. So you will ask, what is the Tatparyam of this? What is the essence of it? What do you mean by that? Because the direct meaning does not make sense, and therefore you want a Tatparyam or Vrittihi. Also this is called Vyanjana. Vyanjana means an indicatory meaning which is not directly obvious, and that's what essentially only those who are familiar with that will be able to get that answer. That so Tatparya Vrittihi Vyanjana. Anaya Pratipadyamanaha Yortaha Tam Yangyartham Tatparyartham iticha. So this is what is called indicatory meaning. Pratipadyamanaha artha. This is a implied meaning of the word, and is also called Vyangyarthaha and also Tatparyarthaha, and that is called the Vyanjana. So here you have defined the word meaning. Word meaning has three types. One is direct meaning, another is a secondary meaning, and third one is called the implied meaning, which is not obvious, and he's going to give examples for that. So Lakshana, now is going to the Lakshana aspect, because the other ones, Abhida, is not pertaining, because you cannot directly describe Brahman. So direct word meaning has no meaning, and the Vyanjanam is not applicable here. So Lakshyartha is the one that scripture uses to indicate the Brahman. So Lakshana Trividha. So there are three types of Lakshana here. Jahat Swartha, Ajahat Swartha, Jahat Ajahat Swartha cha iti. So there are three types. One is, so Jahat Swartha is Jahat Lakshana, Ajahat Swartha Ajahat Lakshana, and Jahat Ajahat Swartha, Jahat Ajahat Lakshana iti, three types. And this is a Trividha. Swartha Parityaga Purvakam Tat Sambandhi Anyartha Pratipadaka Jahat Swartha. So what Jahat Swartha is, Jahat Lakshana is, so Swartha Parita, before you leave out the word meaning, you take that Sambandhi related to that, and which may be completely different from what it says, anyartham, pratipadikam, and that's what has to be taken. You don't directly, because direct meaning will not make sense to you, so therefore you have to take a meaning that is related to the direct meaning, but at the same time not exactly. You have to leave the direct meaning and take the other one. And he gives an example, yata gangayam goshaha. Yata gangayam gosha, just as say the village on the river. When say village on the river, it says atra mukhyarthasya pravahasya goshadikaranatvam anupapatte pravaha sambhani tire rakshana. So when you say there's a village on the Ganges, so is village cannot be on the Ganges because Ganges is flowing, and there cannot be village on the Ganges. So implied meaning, you leave that meaning, but it is related to it. So what you take is a village on the bank of Ganges. So even though word meaning doesn't give you that, word meaning has to be discarded because it doesn't make any sense. Therefore, you take an implied which is but related to it. You don't take some other village somewhere away. It is village close to the Ganges only. It's on the banks of Ganges. That's what implied by the village on the Ganges means. So Goshaha Gangayam Yatha. So this is what you leave the main meaning and you take completely different meaning but related to it, and that's what's called Jahal Lakshana or Jahat Swartha. Atra Mukhyarthasya Pravahasya Goshadikaranatvam Anupapatte Pravaha Sambhadini Tire Lakshana. So therefore you take the meaning that Tire in the bank of Ganges is the village, and that's what is called Jahal Lakshana. So you discard the original meaning, Vachyartham, and take the implied meaning here, which is essentially the Lakshyartham, and that is Jahat Lakshana or Jahaswartha. Swartha Aparityaga Purvakam. So, Swartha Aparityaga Purvakam Tat Sambandhi Anyartha Pratipadana Ajahat Swartha Yatha. So, without leaving the word meaning, but at the same time you have to take an implied meaning using the word meaning and associated with it. So, in the other case you have to completely leave it, Jahal Lakshana. Ajahal Lakshana means you don't leave it, you take it, but direct meaning will not make sense. You add something in order to make it clear, and that's what is called Ajahal Lakshana. So, Aparitchagam, without leaving the original meaning or Vachyartham, you take the associated meaning, that Sambandhini is what you have to take. Sambandhi Anyartha Pratipadaka Ajahaswartha. Yata Chatrino Gachanti. Gives example here. Here Chatrino, the carriers of the umbrella are walking. So carriers of the umbrella walking means what? So there are two types. One is the one who are carriers of umbrella and other ones who are not carriers of umbrella. So there are two categories of people there, and there may be third also, one who are not umbrellas also. Here implied meaning is the one who are not carriers of the umbrella, but carriers of the umbrella are walking. A sticky man is walking. So a man with a stick, so compared to man without a stick, a man with the stick has to be compared, and we are taking sticky man, use the original sentence, sticky man. So it says sticky men compared to the people without any stick, and so man with his stick doesn't stick to the man. Man sticks to the stick. So he was holding a stick. Stick doesn't hold the man. So it is a sticky man. So men with the sticks are walking. Chatrino, the men with the umbrellas are walking. So here called Ajahal Lakshana, a indicatory but related to it without dropping the original meaning. You add a little bit in order to make complete sense of it. That's called Ajahal Lakshana. So Chhatrapadi, Chatri, Achatri. So Atra Chhatrapadam, Chatri, Achatri, Ubhayarthakam, Bodhakam. So when you say that umbrella people are walking, means there are people without umbrellas, there are people with umbrellas, and the people with umbrellas are walking. All that are implied in the Lakshartham. And that's so you don't reject the original meaning of the Vachartha, but add implied meaning also. That's why Lakshana means. That means there are two kinds of people. People with the umbrellas, people without umbrellas. Only people with umbrellas are walking. That's what called the Ajahal Lakshana. Then we are talking about Jahat Ajahal Lakshana. Jahat Ajahal Lakshana, we'll go into more details because that's what is used in the scriptures. Jahat means you take part of it and you reject other part of it and then make sense out of it. And that is the essence in which the Vedanta uses Jahat Ajahal Lakshana, and we will go into details after we come back. With that we stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.